awesome that you studied that in college, man. The translation and the work definitely applies, and it definitely transfers over. Have you ever chit chatted with Whales only?
You know, a lot of people commented I should stream with him. We messaged each other once on Twitter, I believe, in a group chat. I don't think he ever responded, but I'm sure he's a busy guy. But I think it would be cool to do a stream with him for sure. I know some of you guys do really, really long streams, so I don't know if I could stick around for hours, but hey, there he is in the chat. We plan to. All right, man. Yeah, I think I said once more Pulse news official updates from Richard comes out, then we might have more hype just around the space in the community, maybe more viewers, and obviously more eyes um, help the cause. So I think we might wait a little bit on that. Yeah, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, I was watching Blue Bum. He had a stream with Gunther that was kind of doing an audit on the origin address, and I think it's really cool when some of the hexicans that are like-minded, like with maybe yourself and Whales kind of being like Excel masters and like quant game, masters. Your quantitative analysis in Excel, but even people like Gunther and like Silver the Antidote that are good at reading like chain analysis and stuff like that. Like the more you can
Mm-hmm.
have someone that has a similar skill set and kind of like a when you're weightlifting and you got someone that's a spotter or someone that can kind of help you lift with. You guys definitely could probably bounce ideas off of each other. And anyways, I think that would be a great symbiosis and combination. Whenever you guys got the time, I think what you guys are doing really breaks down what a lot of us hexicans know, but can't maybe put it into the charts graphs like you guys do. So definitely go see Gerardo and Wales only for that, because you guys do a great job, and the analysis itself is very easy to look at.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I think there would be some synergy there. I think we would be able to have some good combos there for sure. You mentioned something though, that audit on the OA. That was
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Um, that was interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I don't mean to bash on his work or anything, but
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
pretty simple, I think, to see how much the OA had in supply just by the big payday events that happened. If you remember, there was like 10% staked of total supply, and then by
Mm-hmm.
big payday there was 98%. So
Right.
what's the difference? 88% ownership.
Yeah.
And like I love that he went through all that work because chain analysis is absolute hell, and I don't know if I could sit through something like that. But I think ultimately he found something along the numbers of like 88%, 87% ownership, or what were the numbers if you can update us?
Yeah. Let me pull it up. I've got someone's tweet right here. Let's see here. So this is it right here. Of liquid, 95.56%. Of the T shares, it's 18.03 from what Gunther did. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the most important kind of thing, like you mentioned, with verifying people's stuff, he does have that Excel sheet public on. I think it's just hex.com. Search for Gunther. But yeah, that is a good point that you mentioned, because I think a lot of us, and honestly, I don't know. I wasn't too surprised that it happened, but when it happened, it was like, okay, there's definitely the whales coming in for this. But it was interesting to see the whales, or maybe the OA kind of staking for just the big payday itself, and then that was it, like just the big payday, and then it didn't stake anymore to
Right.
dilute the shares. So some people were kind of like not too sure how to feel about that, but kind of like Richard's mentioned, like yeah, if you could get that much interest for just staking for one day, why wouldn't everyone do such a thing?
I loved that the OA did that. I absolutely loved it because if you look at the price dip after big payday, it was pretty gnarly. Just imagine if people who had just planned to dump that day had gotten the the single day um, percentage returns that they expected, and then just dumped that, we probably would have gone back to levels not seen since like it would have dumped harder, I think. So I think when whales go in and stake like that, like the OA did, it's kind of like a price moat, like a protection mechanism, to where if like the design intention was for you to stake out in gaps where other people aren't staked, and we saw that everyone was staked for that day to unstake the day after, which goes against the design intention. So it makes sense to have a benevolent whale ready to be like, yo, you guys aren't using this right. We don't want a supply shock, so I'm gonna dilute you guys so you don't kill the price. And just in general, I think anytime if we were to see something like that in the future, like a huge just everyone trying to unstake on the same day, I think a benevolent whale like the OA would front run that with even bigger stakes to dilute them and prevent kind of like a supply shock and just dump.
It's so true. And when I saw that, like at first I wasn't too sure kind of what was going on. And just like with like T-shares, for me specifically, it took a little while to grasp everything. But then when I realized, okay, I knew some people personally that I'd gotten into HEX that they had kind of seen that big payday was like the main event, and they wanted to dump that day too. And the person specifically sold it like 58% of a penny. And I try and tell them now, like, man, if you would have just held on, you'd be up like even 3x from where we're at now. But the point is this, is that the way that the OA strategically staked, it took away some of the coins that the dumpers thought that they were going to get. And at the end of the day, like you mentioned, it's cool that sure we've got a slower velocity of money where it's incentivized for people to lock it up for long periods of time, which burns it off the market. But there was a lot of people that were planning to dump that day, and that even did dump that day. But you mentioned a very good point that even if the OA hadn't staked, there would have been significantly more dumpage than just 20% of a penny.
Right.
So that's a very good point that you bring up, and it's an interesting strategy and tactic that I don't think a lot of us saw coming, but ever since it did, it's like, okay, this is benevolent, and they do have our back, and they've got the back of HEX long term. And so that's why I think even with what Richard's doing with Pulse and whatnot, like it's just really cool to see the development, because he could have stopped a long time ago. Been in since he's been in Bitcoin since, as we talked about, early 2011. Like he didn't have to do all this other stuff, but now that he has, it really puts a not a nail in the coffin, but yeah, it really just kind of shows some of the competitors like Bitcoin and Ethereum, like, better get your head out of your ass. You better start doing stuff that you said you were going to do. Otherwise, the newer, younger kid on the block, Pulse and HEX and stuff like that, is coming for your lunch. And that's what seems to be happening with even Ethereum and some of the Ethereum competitors is people want that new kid on the block that they can kind of bet on.
Totally, man.
So cool, man. Yeah, I guess, do you have anything that like maybe I haven't asked you about that you kind of want to cover? I know I've kind of done a lot of the talking, but your videos themselves are very in depth, and the analysis is great. But do you have anything for maybe like people that are just hearing for you the first time, or people that are Hexicans that, I don't know, might want to hear something from someone like yourself that knows about the quantitative side? I mean, I know before our stream you did a video, right, that was like the golden cross. Like, since we can't necessarily see your screen right off bat, do you maybe want to like tell people what you see in that kind of range, maybe?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, if you haven't watched the video, go check that out. Just Hex Golden Crosses. It's the last one I did. Uploaded it today. It pretty much just covers what a golden cross is. I'm sure a lot of you guys know. It's when the 50-day moving average crosses the 200-day moving average. And we haven't seen that since last year is when it happened. I believe it was around October. And we had the 50-day cross at 200-day. First ever golden cross on HEX, which led up to the run-up from 40% of a penny up to 1.5 pennies. So that was a nice little formation you could have called. But yeah, we've been above both. So since October. So that's the golden cross is something a lot of people use to determine whether we're in a bear or a bull market for any given asset. And then being above the 200 is another requirement. Being above the 50 is the cherry on top. So I know we're testing it now, the 50-day moving average. So hopefully we can hold that. If not, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean a death cross is incoming, but then that's when the curvature would start curving down of the 50. There you go. Yeah, of the 50-day. So you got
This is kind of just like a copycat from
Oh, I
your
love
stream.
it.
I
I
saw
love
your
it.
stream and I was like, dude, this guy knows his shit, man. Let's copy this. So
Wait,
yeah,
it's
okay.
all bull flags?
Um,
You
Pretty
know,
much, yeah, right. It is, yeah, it pretty much is all bull flags, yeah, pretty much up and to the right.
yeah, so that pretty much just illustrates it. We had that measly little death cross that lasted what, like barely a month, and price was above both. Yeah, you're looking at that the September ascending triangle right there. Yeah. So
Okay.
again, we're far ways away from a death cross. We would have to go down to like the 1 penny region, which it's not out of the picture completely. I have no clue what's gonna happen. I'm sure no one really does. But if you just look at the most simple of TA, just support resistance zones. I mean, this looks like a textbook macro ascending triangle if you really look at it. Um, it's
Right.
just so nice. This looks so good.
No, that's awesome, man. It's definitely pretty cool, and even one of the other gentlemen, CCFX Studio, Johnny Kayasi, he kind of talks about that. A lot of people that are in the comments now and in the chat now have been in Hex for as long as you or I have, or just been in early, and you don't necessarily think that Hex can go to $1 and stuff like this, but it is almost like that not the hindsight bias, but it is almost just a bias in general that, like, yeah, sure, you got coins that are cheap, but this technology itself and the way that it's designed can pump significantly more than you expect. So it's pretty cool the way that you mentioned that, and I look forward to future videos from you, and maybe even future streams where we can kind of go over that specifically, like you show the chart itself, that it's pretty much all bull flags, and then you look at the go.hex.com share rate kind of market cap type deal,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all bull flags, like you mentioned too. And I've never seen anything that was done so well where it's got that kind of chart where it's just constantly looking better and better, whereas some charts kind of have peaks and valleys, and then it looks good, but Hex always seems to be doing that up and to the right, like the logo does. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I think everyone on the stream here wants to see Hex go up. I don't know if there's really any incentive to see it dump. I mean, other than the guys that want to buy it cheaper, but then again, those, if you've loaded up your bags early, you don't really care that much about that anymore because you're just getting less coins, and yeah. All right, so do you have any
No, that's
more
a good point.
kind of like? So what did we cover? We covered Hex price prediction, cover a little bit of Pulse, a little bit of my background. I should have made notes for this. Did anything else you wanted to cover? Because I do want to stay on until Hex goes on.
Yeah, that was one thing I was meaning to message you on. So it looks like from what I saw from Hexo's most recent tweet, so he would normally go around like an hour from now, but then I looked at his tweet and he's saying that he's got some renovating going on, like got people working around the house, and so he said he might be streaming a little bit later than his normal time, and might be doing a more condensed version for the next few days or few weeks. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, honestly, that's pretty much all the questions I had. I mean, yeah, you've done a great job, kind of. It's really cool to hear from people like yourself that have been around since day one. And I guess the other question I want to ask is, you mentioned kind of like your story being in crypto since 2017 and whatnot, and clearly you mentioned also being in Hex since a couple of days in, or since day one. But how did you hear about Richard in the first place?
Man, I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, yeah,
I watch a lot of YouTube. I can't remember the exact moment. I wouldn't be able to tell you like this is the day it all changed, right?
right,
I somehow
right.
stumbled
Yeah.
across his channel. Man, it must have been the long streams that caught my attention. looking
Hmm.
back, just the 2, 3, 4 hour streams, because I'm the type of guy who just has content on in the background while I'm doing stuff. You know, I might have a
Nice. Me
four
too.
hour podcast while I work on whatever I'm working on. And it just must have been something like that. I can't exactly remember when or what video it was, but yeah, the man can stream for hours, and I find that really respectable. And like you said, he could have just, like, the OA has millions of ETH, right?
Hmm.
Assuming no wash trading. Like, some people were saying, oh, OA is recycling ETH. Like, I haven't seen proof of chain analysis of recycling in the AA. I don't think it really makes a huge difference if it were the case or not. But again, I don't see any proof of that. But like you said, he could have ran off the OA, whoever that is, with, at this point, billions of dollars, you know. But he's still making 4 hour, 5 hour streams. Like, again, I'm not saying Richard Hart is the OA, but I'm not saying he's not.
Hmm. Right.
You have no
Right.
clue.
No. Yeah. No. I know what you mean. I mean, the first thing that kind of the reason I kind of first found out about Richard, because I was in, like I mentioned, Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum around March and April of 2017, and then I remember hearing about pretty quickly because I had discovered Bitcoin from Reddit, and then found out that it wasn't just like Reddit where the crypto place was, but that there was like crypto Twitter, and so I was like, man, I've had Twitter since like 2009, but never really used it. It wasn't really my thing, but that was kind of what inspired me to get back on Twitter, was that there was like a whole ecosystem of people. And then the thing that kind of got me to like find out about Richard was whenever I hear someone like just majorly like um, you know when they're like kind of slandering or they're crap talking someone, for me as someone that's more like investigative or wants to like verify, I'm always like, okay, let's see if what that person said is true, because like the sentiment that I got a lot from other Bitcoin maxis or just other altcoiners was Richard was not the best guy. And so I'm glad I did do my own research at that time, because like you mentioned, you had seen some of Richard's long streams, and if someone was to do, if all the slander that the naysayer said was correct, then why would Richard be doing these long live streams and answering everyone's questions and staying in, and why has the OA never sold? So those are all very interesting things that it makes you realize, like, man, don't listen to everything that you hear. And especially like even now, like even the influencers of like 2017 that are now the same influencers of 2021, they always say like, oh, do your own research, but then they'll like gatekeep against certain things like HEX. And it's like, man, I wish that their audience, I would hope that their audience was actually smart enough to take those words of advice to actually do their own research, because just like with anything in general, you need to like verify that the information is legit.
Of course, and you're smart. Like, smart people do their own research. Smart people don't just take other people's word and just, like, trust but verify, right? Or,
Hmm.
I'll be honest. I think I'm lucky or fortunate that I wasn't following any of these people who were throwing shade, slander, talking crap on Richard. Like, I never really saw much of that. Maybe I was able to curate who I followed pretty well, but I never really saw any of that. So I wasn't polluted with any weird ideas. I just kind of formed my opinion via his streams, you know, not really other people talking about him. So we have some
Right.
people in the chat. What did they say? Did you guys see Reggie Middleton's stream today and the report they released on HEX? I'm assuming he's talking about the audit. Um, do you think HEX will lag out because of the Ethereum fees? Yes. Yes, I do. I think Ethereum in general and all ERC20s kind of had this, like, if high gas fees are because of high demand, right? Or
Hmm.
at least that's one part of it. And
Hmm.
so it's this weird scenario where if the demand gets too high, gas fees get too expensive, it makes sense for demand to start kind of decreasing. And some people claim that the end of Ethereum's bull run in 2018 was because of gas fees with, like, crypto kitties and all that. So didn't CryptoKitties
Right.
break Ethereum for a bit? Like not break, but just
Yeah.
kind of make it super expensive and slow.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, every network, even Bitcoin, but especially Ethereum with CryptoKitties was being congested like crazy.
So if we, I mean, but with Pulse though, and other solutions for gas prices and gas fees, it could provide another leg up for Ethereum and all ERC20s. Like it's interesting. It's interesting. I guess we'll see. But just answering that
Yeah,
question in the chat.
no, totally. And like the one thing that Richard had even talked about that was like recently implemented from what he had mentioned was that in Ethereum they had like MEV, like miner extracted value, where these people would kind of like have bots that would compete against the arbitrage opportunities, and they would bid up the gas prices a whole bunch because they would make the difference of the arbitrage retail. And so yeah, Richard had kind of mentioned that there was some sort of implementation that was done recently on that kind of lowered the I don't know, the arbitrage that was happening. But yeah, it is a point that people bring up where like the networks themselves are, for the most part, they're not always going to be like completely congested, and even if they are, then I guess that's why we have people like Richard working on other solutions and implementations that can benefit everyone. So I think that's pretty cool that even though Richard has been gate kept and poorly treated by some of the other communities, that this is in that pinned message on Telegram that it would be like the largest airdrop that the world's ever seen or crypto has ever seen. And I think that's quite a major deal and major wave that could really show the community and even the people on Ethereum like kind of like what the second mover is doing, and maybe people see like what the Pulse / ERC20 tokens are doing, and maybe they make their decisions then. But either way, whatever we got going in the market and the day-to-day stuff, it's all very interesting and all cool to be a part of.
Yeah, yeah. This Pulse thing could be huge. It could be massive. Like, I kind of want to get your take on it. Have some fun here with some speculation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Totally.
so with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, obviously Bitcoin Cash wrecked. Bitcoin won that battle. With Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, Ethereum Classic got wrecked. The original blockchain and the fork actually prevailed. And
Mm-hmm.
so you have kind of case studies for both, right? With BCH, it did
Mm-hmm.
have higher throughput. With I'm not sure actually with the ETH ETC fork if one of them had higher throughput or not. I know it's just kind of proof of
Right.
work debate. So which blockchain do you think will
Mm-hmm.
prevail in terms of Ethereum or Pulse, and also the hex on Ethereum and hex versus Pulse? Just a hot take.
Totally. I mean, honestly, myself is kind of biased because I've listened to a lot of Richard's streams, and Richard's kind of mentioned the possibility too. But I definitely could see, and not saying I will or won't do this, but I could definitely see a lot of the Pulse hex going up to a higher value than, say, the ethHEX, because at the end of the day, if it's going to be less expensive to transact, to stake, to end stake on PulseChain, then you're going to get the most economic value. As long as the price is still higher or equivalent, you're going to get the most economic value out of the thing that gives you less fees. And I don't know, from what I see with Ethereum, I still think here's the thing that I don't see. I don't see like the value just dropping down or like going to zero, quote unquote, with the ethHEX. I still think it's going to maybe be at the same price that we're at now, if not continue to progress higher as well. But I just see that if you've got one network that is more expensive to end the stakes and more expensive to do certain things, maybe other people with less economic energy, maybe they put that energy into things like Pulse. I mean, myself, yeah, I'm going to have some liquid hex, and so that's going to be copied on to Pulse as well. So personally, I could see this being not like the Bitcoin Cash, but being like the latter where yeah, Pulse is going up higher than, say, Ethereum. But but that is definitely just,
Mhm.
my thumbs in the air.
Nice. So you're leaning more towards the fork, aka Pulse
Yeah.
might beat out Ethereum. Okay, for sure. There's just so much nuance, right? That's why I kind of wanted to bring this up because I remember I was watching an old RH live stream and he said something that at first I thought it contradicted with what he's doing right now, but then I kind of looked into it a bit more and realized the nuance. He was saying, would HEX have gone up as much as it did if it were built on something other than Ethereum? No, because the
Mm-hmm.
majority of the price appreciation came from Ethereum whales dumping their Ethereum for HEX and driving the price up. And so having HEX on a different blockchain kind of goes against that. But then again, are you rewarding Ethereum whales, I guess, or just Ethereum holders in general for going on to Pulse? Because if you do, then you have sort of, I guess, an incentive bridge for the same guys who pumped ethHEX to pump pulseHEX. So it's not an easy question, right? There's a lot going on. I'm just really excited. Only time will tell, right?
Me too, and yeah, that's a very good point too. That especially with the end of the month being so soon, and it's hard with things that are so exciting like Pulse not to be like, what's going to happen and all the speculation. But yeah, it's definitely something that yeah, like you mentioned, the points are nuanced, but it is kind of fun to talk about and speculate, and even the breadcrumbs that Richard's kind of mentioned on t.me slash PulseChain.com, like the fact that they've already got a test net running and churning blocks and stuff like that is pretty cool, and yeah, might signal that yeah, maybe we are sooner than the 6 month prediction that he originally gave. But yeah, either way, I think it's going to be a really big deal because at the beginning when the Bitcoin free claim came out for HEX, a lot of people were saying like, oh, if you free claim with your Bitcoin keys, that you're going to get doxxed, you're going to lose your private keys, even though it was just a signature that you were doing, just signing a transaction. But I think with things like Pulse, since it's going out to everyone, it's just going to, you kind of mentioned that like your first videos are kind of health and fitness and stuff like that. And I think that's really awesome. And it's almost like a cross promotion that you mentioned where like it's not just about HEX or fitness, but it's kind of all of it mingled into together. And so I think that even if nothing else, what Richard's kind of doing with airdropping all of them as opposed to just say HEX, I think that kind of cross promotion could really, if nothing else, be like a significant advantage for things like Pulse compared to Ethereum, because a lot of the people, like you mentioned, say like the NFTs and whatnot that people would mint on Ethereum. You don't see as many people minting those things when it's $80 or $100 to do a cat JPEG. So even with things like, yeah, okay, that's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, but just no, I appreciate you saying something, but it just goes to show you like the crazy part that we're at of the market. But even people that wanted to do stuff like that, Richard had mentioned that he wouldn't necessarily completely like cross that off the list because otherwise it wouldn't be decentralized. So he's going to kind of have a myriad of maybe all of the ERC20 tokens on there, and it's really exciting. And at the end of the day, I think we'll definitely know a lot more by the end of the month. But it's kind
Oh,
of
for
fun to
sure.
speculate.
For sure. And we'll have live streams, I'm sure, more in the future. Like I said, I'm
Yeah.
planning to go live with, I think Whales said he's down in the chat. Looking to Crypto is down. So yeah, if anyone else is down, wants to hop
Dope,
on a
dude.
live stream, then this year is, I guess, my debut on going live
Hell yeah.
related to HEX. So for Lucky Bran got me on the debut. Everyone, oh yeah, I'm streaming too. So everyone who's watching on my YouTube and my Twitch, go ahead and follow Bran. He makes consistent videos, is able to chat for hours clearly. So asset to the community. And yeah, check out my Twitch as well. I have like 3 followers on there, so you guys could pump that to the moon. That would be great. Um, Restream obviously is able to give. Oh, there you go. You pulled it up. So now you
So
can
yeah,
see
that's his
right
his
on.
YouTube channel. Yeah, Anthony, everyone else in the chat, good to see you there. And yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it is cool to see kind of your, I'll just because it's creating a mirror, but it is cool to see your debut, and it's cool to see people like you have been around for a while too, and so it's always nice to bounce ideas off of each other, and sometimes when you're kind of talking with not the same people, but sometimes the ideas might be like, I don't know, I guess stale, right? So when you hear other perspectives and other people like yourself kind of bringing things to the market, or whales, maybe you only intend to do one stream or a couple of videos, but now a lot of the other hexicans have kind of latched on to that information, and definitely are wanting to collab too. So yeah, man, I definitely would love to see those kind of collaborations. I mean, yeah, look into crypto. He definitely has got some good stuff, and same thing with Whales Only. But I guess we've already covered a lot here. Do you have anything else you want to say, or should we wrap it up here? Anything else?
I could keep going if you can, if you're down.
I'm down. I mean, I guess what more to cover?
Well, I have some comments here in my YouTube chat.
Okay, yeah, please do, man.
Awesome. So someone said, what products that also get forked over do you guys realistically think will utilize the PulseChain and promote it? I think real DeFi, like HEX, people who are actually using I think it's sload function, right? Writing data. People who are, real DeFi, I think will have huge incentive to actually move over to Pulse. Also, non-gas optimized projects, most likely, will have incentive. So I can't name them off the top of my head because I don't really mess around with most of DeFi. But I think, real DeFi that actually does real business logic should have the biggest incentive to go over to Pulse. I have another comment here. I don't really like this comment, but I'm going to read it. Reggie's report implies HEX is a Ponzi pyramid, but stops short of declaring it to be so far for legal reasons. From what I've seen, he has a conflict of interest and doesn't understand HEX, willfully or otherwise. So thank you, Anthony, for the comment. A Ponzi pyramid. What does that even mean? They're two different things. Which one is he referring to? I mean, we've seen arguments kind of take down both arguments, right? But I think a huge argument is the low liquidity and the fact that if everyone wanted to cash out at once, they can't, which is the case for literally every single market. So by that argument, by that premise, you would say every market on the planet is a Ponzi, right? By that logic. So it's either totally. Like everything is or nothing is. Like pick one.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen kind of the recent interactions, and I guess just interactions with Reggie, and Richard kind of talks about it a lot, that like that he'll kind of, he's pretty open. He'll kind of clout chase up his game, right? He'll comment on people like Elon or people like Lex Friedman and stuff like that. But it seems like with people like Reggie that there's a, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like week one or month one FUD all over again, where Richard has clearly, first off, I mean, HEX is almost 2 years old and we've never had any problems with the SEC, right? One of the people had specifically reported on like DeFi Pulse or something, had specifically reported Richard and HEX to the SEC. So, clearly if there was any conflict of interest or any security or thing like that, Ponzi, then it would have already been sussed out. So I guess that's all I want to say there is one person has a successful product and the other person has something that's not. But I guess we're actually going to have to cut the stream a little bit short. As much as I don't want to, I guess Hexologist, he is live now, so I don't want to stomp on his grounds or anything. No. But
amazing. Go ahead and rate him on Twitch if you want.
Totally, man. I'll share the screen as I do that, and yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, for doing your work too. It's really cool to see people like yourself constantly busting out good information and providing a whole bunch of good stuff for Hexicans to digest and think about. And I appreciate you being able to come on my channel for a debut, I guess, and it'll be cool to see yourself on future streams as well. But your information is all tagged in the links below, your Twitter and your YouTube. I am going to put your Twitch as well because I just found out about that. But definitely go check out Gerardo on Twitch as well. And do you have any final comments before we go over to Hexo?
Hey man, I appreciate you having me on. I hope you get some good subscribers, some good follows out of this. I know my channel and Twitter have definitely been increasing thanks to your help and the community's help. This is an awesome community. You guys are super supportive, so obviously I appreciate that. Thanks for sharing all my stuff. Really means a lot. And just keep doing your thing. You're one of the few people who are actually younger, right, in the HEX space from what I'm seeing, right? And so I think it's cool that not only are it's amazing to have all sorts of people, but I know that a lot of the guys that are streaming are on the older side, so it's cool to see someone kind of younger in the game. Man, time is on your side, on my side, on hopefully if longevity is a thing soon, on everyone's side. But man, thanks for having me on. It was a blast, and I hope to do something like this in the future. Like you said, all our links are going to be in each other's descriptions and all that. I'll update mine because I don't think your links are in my description. My bad. Let me do that right now.
It happens. No worries.
This will be uploaded so you guys can look back if you missed it. And I think that's it. Follow on Twitter, links in the description, and that should pretty much wrap it up.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on. For everyone that's watching right now, Hexologist is live, so let's go follow him. We're rating him right now on Twitch, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Gerardo, for coming on, and go follow him if you haven't already. His Twitch will be updated in the description as well. His Twitter and YouTube are there. But till next time, guys, we'll see you next Tuesday for Nights at the Crypto Table, and thanks again, Gerardo, for being there.
Thanks so much, Brian. Talk soon.
Peace.